Thank you for checking out crypto.chartguys.com, the source for technical analysis in the cryptocurrency world. We are proud to announce our own crypto alert system designed to give you the most critical technical trading information possible no matter where you are. Keep your eyes on the market with mobile or email alerts for MACD crosses, RSI levels, and even inside bar alerts for dozens of coins across multiple exchanges. New features and proprietary ChartGuys indicators are already in development. Our alert system is very easy to customize and utilize, so don't hesitate to sign up for the most effective crypto trading tool on the market at crypto.chartguys.com. Hello everyone, congrats to the bulls. It's been a wonderful run and we see continuation. So in the video yesterday highlighted how if we see 9,000 again, we will likely shoot right up to 9,200. That was just anticipating the shorts that would need to cover and the fact that we were getting tight on the 4-hour time frame to the point where we knew a break was imminent. So just to go over that equilibrium, because again, I cannot stress equilibriums enough. You certainly know if you've been watching this channel. But if you are disciplined enough to be a trader that just waits for longer term equilibriums on a daily and 4-hour time frame, you're going to have a very high win percentage. It's just most people can't keep that kind of discipline. So here we had, it looks like a bunch of lines here, but we had our high, low, lower high, higher low, another lower high, another higher low, and then a bull break and a breakout in a big way. So it took the bulls getting to a point where we knew we were really tight. You could see the volume and the short squeeze behind it. We're going to go over the alerts, the alert system, crypto.chartguys.com. Haven't covered that in a while. We're just working behind the scenes on getting that new website launch and design ready, but certainly still firing off alerts that alerted us to volume coming, and we'll show that in just a minute. But Bitcoin is now overextended on the 4-hour time frame. So again, I do not like any risk to reward on these plays entering up at these levels. It is just not favorable. We look at this 4-hour time frame and we could say, yeah, the bulls are still extremely strong. We could still see continuation, but it's extremely high risk in the sense that we know consolidation is coming sooner rather than later just to form another 4-hour higher low. We've been forming 4-hour higher lows for a while now, and now we haven't seen it after 6 green candles in a row. So again, if you are all cash, this is when you're just patient. I personally am all cash after scaling out of an Ethereum position. We'll go over that in just a minute as well. But Bitcoin leading the way to the upside and now starting to see brief consolidation, but you look at the hourly chart, it's not significant. So signal number one that we are going to consolidate is losing the hourly higher lows. And right now that level is 9,303. If we lose that level, then we say, okay, we have lost the hourly uptrend and we're now going to look for the 4-hour to form a higher low. Because of the magnitude of the bounce, or the breakout I should say, that we've seen, we know we're going to form a 4-hour higher low. Whether it's at 9,200 or 9,000, that remains to be seen, but it is going to be a higher low, and we know it's going to be normal and healthy. And in order for it to not be normal and healthy, we'd have to pull back, set our higher low, set a lower high, unable to see continuation, and then drop to a lower low. That's our signal that daily consolidation is coming. So we don't have any signals of that happening right now. The bulls are still in full control. They're just overextended, and I'm the kind of trader that when we get overextended, I lock in my gains. And that's because time and time again, if I'm doing this, dozens of times in a month or hundreds of times in a year, I know that more often than not, these overextended levels signal a pullback is coming, and I want to, again, continue to lock in those profits. Some of the time, yes, it's going to keep running, and I will leave money on the table, but that's not the most likely scenario, and I always want to put myself in favor with the odds. So that's where we stand with Bitcoin. Multiple daily inside bars was also the bull signal. That daily inside bar broke bullish at 8,991, and then that triggered the move. In terms of where's the next resistance on the Bitcoin daily chart, it's up here at 9,890. So as soon as we broke 9,000 convincingly, there's a lack of resistance nearby, which is why the bulls are seeing a really nice $400 move, and that's why they've been able to stay so strong overnight, just holding these 4-hour green candlesticks and staying in full control. So the alerts that went off for Bitcoin 15-minute abnormal volume was detected just under 9,000, and that went out. Of course, the bull volume surged and followed it. We then had the Bitcoin 15-minute price shear go off after the continuation, or I should say before the continuation after the initial bull move. Then we had a 15-minute climax overbought, which signaled about when we were getting a little toppy. We then started to consolidate and get a lot more choppy. Where we stand right now, we know there's continuation going on up. We're right at the high of the move in the 9,400s. And we had another abnormal volume shootout these alerts came out on the big pullback and then big bounce. So high volume on the breakout and high volume of bulls buying the dip on the sharp initial pullback is what is keeping these bulls in control at this point. Ethereum is who I played on this breakout just because consistently we're seeing stronger moves on Ethereum, and I wanted a piece. I had already played Bitcoin twice on this move over the last couple of weeks, and now looking to Ethereum and gave some nice gains. So for Ethereum, the bull move, the bulls were always in control with the daily higher lows and higher highs continuing on every candlestick. So we look at the 4-hour time frame, and again, I keep saying it's now been 8 or 9 days since we've lost, or since we started the 4-hour higher low pattern. So anything above 634 will still be a higher low on this 4-hour time frame. So again, we can be very confident that when we consolidate, we will form a higher low initially. It's going to have to take the higher low, lower high, lower low to change this trend. So inside bar on the 4-hour time frame, it's also a really nice top fishing play, and we have some members going short on this play right now because it's a very clear stop level. You can use 710, or I suggest 711 at our top up here, and look at our quadruple top. And if we pull back from here, it's just a very low risk trade. If you go short at 705 and you're going to exit at 712 if we get the bull break, you're not risking a whole lot, and the reward is potentially nailing the top, and maybe we pull back $50 from the top overnight. We don't know, but we can put ourselves in a position to potentially benefit from that. Again, a very low risk, high reward trade setup, and that's what we call a top fishing play, which is the opposite of a bottom fishing play. So starting to pull back on the hourly, but again, we know the bulls are extremely strong on the 4-hour chart. RSI levels are just too high on the 4-hour. We know consolidation is coming. Hourly supports are 693.53 and 687.10 on Ethereum's hourly chart. So daily time frame still all bulls. I want to go back to Bitcoin real quick. Forgot the weekly. We are going to form a lower high on this weekly time frame unless news comes out. Unless there's some shocker news, and all these lines, my delete button still is not working on this one chart. I just need to restart my computer and haven't gotten around to it. But we're going to set a lower high compared to the recent high of 11,775. So I'm very confident in that. Again, news would be the only reason I would change that. And we've already seen a month of green in a row. So we have to be careful. This is how the market suckers in people that don't know charts. They say, oh man, it's been bullish now for this long. Things are really turning around. We are going to new all-time highs. And then right when everybody that's thinking that way buys in right at this lower high, we're going to pull back and we're going to look to form a higher low. So don't let that FOMO trick you and just say, well, we've been going up for a month now. Things have really turned around because, again, this equilibrium pattern is the holy grail of technical analysis for cryptocurrency in the year 2018. And it is going to dictate a lot, and we're going to get some information very quickly. Also watching the macroeconomic trends in the stock markets and the interest yields and things like that. We're seeing weakness in the S&P 500. We have the same equilibrium on the weekly time frame. We've already set our lower high and started pulling back pretty significantly. But right now, the weekly long-term pattern is very similar to SPY, coming after all-time highs, coming after a huge breakout. But Bitcoin's weekly chart right now is stronger than SPY. So that's a little bit encouraging for the bulls. The cryptocurrency space could get some attention. If the market starts to pull back, these headlines are going to say, oh, the stock market's down another 2% this week and Bitcoin's up 10%. That's definitely going to be a comparison that's going to start getting made. And if we can be inverse and seeing gains in crypto while the market goes down, that's going to attract a lot of attention in an uncertain market. So that's what we're looking at on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum signals that went off today. Again, 15-minute abnormal volume. 6:45 is that when that went off just before the bull break. And then we had an hourly climax over bot alert that signaled some consolidation was coming. We pulled back for an hour. Very healthy. It was an hour and a half pullback. Very healthy bull flag before continuation. And then there's that abnormal volume again once we had that big volatile move up at the high, and then a quick pullback, and then a solid bounce. So the volume, the abnormal volume alerts are by far the shining star for this move in terms of the first thing to go off and recognize it. My personal trade that I made on Ethereum, I entered bullish at 645 or so, or 640 was my average. And so I believe I entered right on this bull break. So my average was probably right in the low 640s with market orders factored in. But we had our low, then we broke the lower high and broke to a higher high, and then we just had the comparison to Bitcoin where we were stronger, and we just took off. And I started to take profit in the upper 680s, and then I took the rest of my profit between 700 and 710 again, I don't care if it goes up another $20 from here because I'm locking in those gains. When you give me consistent month makers week after week in the cryptocurrency space, I'm just going to keep locking that in. I'm not going to be greedy. It's a strategy that's worked to far outpace this market in the last 11 months. So I'm going to continue sticking with what has been working. And again, my goal is to have more US dollars than yesterday. That's my goal one day to the next. And as long as I'm locking in profit, then I am achieving that goal. So checking in on Litecoin. Litecoin also seeing continuation on the daily time frame with multiple daily inside bars breaking bullish, and now zooming into the 4-hour time frame, still maintaining higher lows. And we know that when this consolidation does take place, we will form a higher low. So right now, support is down at 149.51, 146.01, and we could pull all the way back down to 153 and still be forming a higher low. So we're overextended. We're starting to see some consolidation. The hourly higher lows are still intact right now. First level I'm looking at is 162.71, then 159.01, and 158.28. So those are all the levels that we're looking at on Litecoin. Same scenario, if Bitcoin loses the hourly higher lows, we then patiently wait for a 4-hour higher low to form. And a first signal that I'm going to be looking at, a couple other things I want to point out before we get to Bitcoin Cash or Bcash, don't care what to call it. We got the 5-minute RSI. After a big bull move, the first time the 5-minute RSI hits oversold is usually a really good entry opportunity, even if it's just for a flip. But that's what happened with Bitcoin. We got down, the RSI touched 30 at the low of this candlestick, and then bounced to continuation. So just keep that as a general rule of thumb. Lock that away in your trading, stats or trading facts. After a big bull move, the first time the 5-minute RSI hits oversold is a higher percentage chance that you see a solid bounce than not. So that's a scenario where you put the odds in your favor if you try and play that bounce. Add one more other point. Let's see where Litecoin signals were going off. Litecoin abnormal volume detected at 153.15, exploded to the upside. 15-minute abnormal volume detected up at the top, so don't disregard that. We know volume climaxes occur at the bottom of downtrends and at the top of uptrends, so climax at the top can be just as much a signal as a climax before a breakout or during a breakout. So we had a volume an abnormal volume at the bottom and then an abnormal volume at the top, indicating that quick pullback that did end up following through. So now on to Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin Cash is forming a bearish reversal shooting star candlestick with a big upper wick of profit taking, and we've been consolidating longer now. This is very healthy consolidation still, multiple 4-hour inside bars, but the bulls, after leading the way the entire way to the upside, they are not seeing the strong move and follow through that the big three saw all last night. So inside bars would break bearish at 1446. Then we're looking at 1422 and 1333. So the bulls are still looking to form a 4-hour higher low. And BCH has almost acted as a bit of a leader sometimes. So I'm keeping an eye out to see if we can get any clues on the amount of consolidation we see here to see if the other names are going to follow suit. But hourly time frame, lower highs and lower lows. And again, just very healthy consolidation. No red flags at this point, and it's going to require a higher low on the 4-hour, wherever that is, and then a lower high and a lower low to change this trend. Let's see, one scenario that I'm going to be looking at. So let's say Bitcoin loses the hourly higher low pattern. That is going to be indicated by a loss of this level, 9303. So once we lose that, we then start looking for a 4-hour to higher low to form. How can we be confident that our 4-hour higher low is forming? I go to the 15-minute time frame. And so let's say we're consolidating with 15-minute lower highs and lower lows. When the 15-minute time frame breaks that trend and goes for higher lows and higher highs again, that's when I start to look for the 4-hour time frame to form that higher low. So let's have that scenario in our mindset overnight, anticipating that some consolidation is coming sooner rather than later. Again, not just yet on Bitcoin, but we know sooner rather than later. So let's imagine that scenario. Lose the hourly higher low pattern, look for a 4-hour higher low to be established, and use the 15-minute time frame to get a gauge of when that 4-hour higher low is going to form. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. I appreciate you all watching. Hope you all continue to do good things. What I want to leave you all with is a do good things update from a member that he shared with us, and just want to pull it up to leave him anonymous. Let's see how we can get it here. We'll do text. That's going to look terrible. Let's see here. So, do good things update. I just returned from a trip to Texas. I am Canadian and Despite the fact we are always being told how polite and friendly we are up here, I have found to say that I've found the people in Southern Texas to be some of the friendliest people I have ever met. I also found that everything down there was fairly cheap when it came to eating out compared to what I'm used to paying in Canada. And he eats out a lot. Long story short, I remembered what Dan said about a video about adding 20% to your normal tip and you could make somebody's day. I made up my mind I was going to tip twice as much as I normally do and give any homeless person that asked for money more than I normally would for the 5 days I was down there. The food was so cheap, certain places I was tipping 200% in some cases. One place it was only $9 for him and his friend to eat. The end result was literally one of the best trading weeks he's had in his last month in crypto and Canadian MJ, and he was placing trades while he was fishing and not really paying a whole bunch of attention. But it's true what they say, with what you give comes back to you in droves, and it makes you feel good as well. So I suggest anybody giving it a try if you're having a good week, or maybe even if you're having a bad week in the trading game, because it could turn things around, start to give a little bit more. And again, this is just resonates with me because this is a point that strikes home, because I have experienced this many, many times in my life over the last few years, where the more I give, it's the more I get back. And I do view money as like an energetic source where we don't want it to be stagnant and just sitting and hoarding it. And we want to be fluid with it and using it to increase other returns, whether it's, through a different business venture or whatever, as well as giving. These are ways, in my opinion, that, it's this, I can't describe why it happens, but in my opinion, it is a very significant and real fact that the more generous that I am, the more money that I do make trading. So I'm sure there's some kind of just correlations there as well. But in general, that's my viewpoint on the universe. I appreciate you all tuning in. I hope you have a good rest of your night, and I hope you continue to do good things.